The following radio show may not be suitable for certain audiences, specifically if you get offended easily. We here at Reckless Airwaves Radio would like to apologize in advance for... Wait a minute. Screw that. You're listening to Reckless Airwaves Radio-Dead Air. Dead Air. More uncensored, unforgiving, and unfiltered than ever before.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, Tony? How you doing?
Hey, there he is. There's my unpaid therapist, folks.
Hey, I got to ask you something. Do I sound different right now, too, like I did last night, or the same as usual?
Yeah. Here's the thing. I got to get through to the listeners out there. We have never, you and I, have never, ever had a conversation off air.
Right.
So when you called me, I was like, oh, my God, it's like his real voice. Like, he sounds so different. I was like, is it the same guy? Or?
It was one of two things. Either I was on speaker, which I was on my computer, or I've been under the weather the last couple of days. So my voice might be a little messed up. I've got like a runny nose or whatever. It's been annoying the hell out of me for the last couple of days. So maybe it's that. But I'm good. I'm good now. I mean, but it just...
well, for me... Not exactly, because this entire crazy journey odyssey, maybe I'll document some of it now, all the crap that I've been through in the last 10 days.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in my pajamas, and here's the backdrop to why I sound the way that I do and everything. I sound very short-winded because I've been under so much stress and duress, deprived of sleep, and it's taken over a pack of cigarettes a day just for me to mellow out enough, and on top of it, I always pride myself that Pall Mall 100s, I can only smoke half of one at a time before I start harking, and it's disgusting. Put it out,
Right.
And if I didn't ever want to smoke the second half of it later, it's like, if it tastes disgusting or whatever, don't smoke it. You must not want tobacco that bad if you.
Right.
So I'm sitting in my pajamas. And here, real quick, before I get too heavy into the story, a lot of people are tuning in. They're wanting all the dirt. They're wanting all the scoops. I've had every friggin' reporter, seemingly, I'll drop some heavy names of who's contacted me.
Before you go any further, I'm going to ask you a heavy question. You ever think about stopping smoking?
Yeah, I've tried it several times. I did for 9 or 10 months, and then I got pissed off at him, and I walked out of Sami Callihan's wedding before it took place. I lit up a cigarette.
I love Sami Callihan.
Oh boy. Okay, I'll give you the short. Okay. You know what? I'll give you the abbreviated version. I'll give you the Cliff Note version. My ex and wife and his ex-wife were best friends. So personally, I love Sami, but he's a goof from hell, and anybody who's ever been friends with him knows he's frantic, he's spastic, and he can't conduct himself like an adult. That's just him. That's not me being slanderous. That's just me being honest. Yeah. So who does she have to vent to but her best friend about what a goof he is and this, that, and the other, blah, blah. So, in turn, because she lives with me, what does my old lady at the time do? She goes back to his old lady, and Tony's such a this, blah, 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 blah. So she comes in with the cannon all loaded up. And somewhere along this, it triggers some heat in this girl's mind, his ex-wife's mind. The same one that went on podcast and said he beat the shit out of me and blah, blah, blah. So I know all those goofy stories.
Yeah.
So, we're on the way to the wedding, and apparently I'd been on their shit list because my old lady excessively told him what a goof and what a pain in the ass, this, that, and the other all about me. Well, I drive 16 hours straight, and there's a whole carload full of these big shot CZW guys, and I didn't even have a job there, and I just, all I'm hearing them do is bellyache and piss and moan about having to drive from Jersey all the way out to Ohio. And so
where he lives, right?
Yeah. Now, I did 3,000 miles a week, every single damn week in, week out. 3,000 miles a week I averaged for 3 years in the dying days of Memphis territory. Even after we lost Evansville, there were still spot shows Buddy Wayne was doing and the casinos were doing on Wednesday nights. So, long story short, then I find out that apparently I got all this killer heat. They were supposed to have a barbecue that day before the wedding, and this is where her phone rings, and my ex picked up and freaked out and goes, "These people, I don't know, I shouldn't have done." She's like frantic and freaking out. I go, "What is it?" And she goes, "They're not letting you go to the wedding." And I said, "Well, or they're not letting you go to the barbecue before the wedding. Apparently, there's heat with you and them, and this isn't making sense." So I go, "You know what? I'll leave. I won't even go to the wedding because I'll rent a car. I'll drive home 16 hours, pick up my truck that was left at that Niall Young guy, the Sozio, whatever, guy's place." And he was like the king ringleader of them. And so
that
was it.
Whatever his name is.
Yeah. So he, now they call her up and they go, "Well, he's got the key to the vehicle that we drove here. We need it back." And I told her, "You don't have to come with me. I'll do this alone." Go downstairs, and I looked right in his face, and I started smiling at him like, "Just you friggin'," you know what I mean?
Now,
he could have at least told me on Nunzio or Sozio, whatever, Susio.
He's a weirdo,
whoever.
that guy.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly how the story happened. And if anybody wants to dispute this, well, this was all water under the bridge 10 years ago, too, right?
Yeah.
So I can't believe I'm even telling this story because I didn't tell it to many people. Yeah, so that's how it ends. Me smiling in his face. Keys. She went back. She had to go back down. My ex had to go back down to get some stuff out of her car. And they all got her in a circle, and they all ganged up on her because she was like, "I can do this alone, too." And I go, "Okay." Just like I did. So these girls getting in her face. One girl took her earrings off and was like, "You ready for ass whooping," and all this shit. And so I just waited out with her, and she told me, she said, "I talked a lot of bad stuff about you, stuff I shouldn't have told her." And I go, "I don't care. I'm leaving." This was the same. I was going to go back from there, drive to the Jersey Shore, and formally propose to her to be my, fiance, to be my wife. And it turns out she was the biggest rat in the world, and nobody fucking smartened me up.
Right. Well, it's a good thing that you didn't marry that girl.
She's listening now. Yeah, so she's listening now. It's like, "Thanks for making me look like an asshole. I didn't know." And everyone's like, "We didn't want to hurt your feelings." True story. Let's fast forward to about a year.
Wedding day.
Yeah. Let's go back a year and a half ago. I go to debut for H2O. Who's in the locker room? One of the guys, and that socio guy had told her. He's like, I had Alex Cologne, and the whole locker room was there. They were ready to beat the shit out of him. No, I looked around and I looked at everybody like, what? Before I smiled and handed them the keys, like, that's what I thought. Like, nobody's got a set of balls. Like, if you're this mad at me, beat me up, kill me, whatever. But, like, fucking, at least let me know what is going on here.
Yeah.
So.
The only thing I remember about him is I remember he was arguing with Joey Janela a couple of years ago on Twitter or something about, it was almost like he was jealous of the shows that Janela was getting booked on and stuff. Strange.
All right. Well, here's the thing. I walked in. Real quick, to put an end to that and get into whatever we have to get to, because Destiny happened, Onita, and me spending 9 days of my life with him every waking moment. Anyway, and having a lot of fun. I don't know if you saw the pictures, but okay. To end the Callihan story. To put the official kibosh, I'm done with it, story about Callihan, I walk into H2O, and I'm a little bit nervous, I guess, because it's my first time going in there, and there's all these guys like Alex Cologne and guys that have really carved out a solid effing name for themselves on the Indies, I got to say. So me and the guy that I brought with me to be in the Battle Royal, we're talking, and we were talking about this disgusting wrestle. The guy was so sauced up on shit over at Gino Caruso's ECPW. When we would work out, the guy's back would start to ooze in his chest and arms because he was so sauced up. You know, he had to show off his puffy arms and all that shit.
Yeah. And
we were talking about how disgusting that was, and the only place to sit down was right next to Alex Colon, who was like overhearing as I'm going, yeah, dude, I remember that guy. And I told Alex Colon, I go, what would you do? And he just goes, dude, that's disgusting. I couldn't be in the same ring as that. And I told him, I said, I don't know if you remember me from before. And he goes, oh yeah, Tony, you know, everything been good? And I was like, wait a minute. Like, Alex Colon's a cool dude, you know? Yeah. And I grew to really, really like him these last 2 years. You know, if there's one thing I will say with H2O is that they really, you know, I walk in there, I see Mickey Knuckles. I walk in there, I see Lucky 13. These are all people with pretty big damn names on the indies. And there's me, this obscure turd sack that wrestles in Japan, and I'm this old man, you know, who moonsaults, and I don't know. But, yeah, that was the whole Callihan thing, footnote version. And, you know, I'm sure you want to hear about, you know, just hit me with your best shot. You know, like you and I discussed a little bit of legalities I'm running into with things or whatever. So there's certain things legally, which is why I still believe in kayfabe that I can't get out there. And there's other things that if it doesn't come into fruition, the next time I come on here is going to be a shit show because I won't be able to bottle up my emotions about what took place Sunday. Just everything. That's everything.
I'm ready for all that, but I want to throw one more other topic before we get to that. Just give me the summary of what happened with these shirts. You were just online and you saw somebody had printed your shirts out on Etsy or something like that, and they were basically just ripping you off, or did someone send you the link? Yeah. So I found that to be interesting.
Somebody sent me the link and said, Tony, this guy's selling your stuff.
Selling your shirts.
And he stole my picture of
the whole
me.
Thing. I saw it.
For Freedom's Wrestling. I did Freedom's in Kurokan Hall, and they have like smaller house shows that are undocumented that I have done. Because I walk in and the owner, you know, Sasaki is sitting there and there's Jun Kasai. He's one of the bookers. So it's you know, you can't tell me I didn't wrestle on those shows or it didn't take place because I'm having an issue right now with a guy, very powerful guy, the guy that wrote Mr. Pogo's book, who still has very powerful reporter. And it's just like, I caught this guy in a flat out lie. And I've been like, you know, you've been a lot of things to me. Good, I can say is, you know, everything. But for some reason, you're telling this lie about me. And I've cleared it up on this show before too, about all the mask gimmicks and all the, nobody would take credit for some of the crap that I claim to have done. And it was me. Nobody would take credit for it because it was simply put, it was so bad. It was a language barrier. I didn't know what was going on. I was in my early 20s, mid 20s, you know, that kind of thing. But to get back to with the t-shirt thing, I told the same friend, I said, you know, you got a keen eye for this and I can't, you know, so my big reveal to him is, not only would I want him to take care of my shirts when I get some new ones, because the ones I have now are selling out fast, what I have left, and I'd rather show up to Japan with an empty bag and them all sold than to haul more stuff. And then this way, these will be, you know, it plugs my Instagram and Twitter. But yeah, this guy took a picture of me from that Freedoms, and he used that picture, inverted it to black and white, and just put super, I think he put super FMW Leather.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, in one sense, I'm very honored. In another sense, I'm like, what no, dude. But it also came on a roll that people were bootlegging Pogo shirts. So I told his daughter earlier, and this might be how my friend finds out. I left him a bit of a voicemail telling him, we got to do some business because this is what's going down. What I would like, because Onita just met Pogo's daughter, you know, for the first time. And that girl's been through enough in the last 32 years, you know, from being banished from her father because her mother ran off with her lover on him, and that was his young boy she did that with. Between that and just 30 years of lies fed to her, which were all verified the last year in his life, year and a half of his life, all he did was speak to his daughter on Skype. So I said to her, you know, Jilmy, you have, you know, she just moved back from Peru because she was on a parole violation. She's had a rough life. And I'm not trying to shield her in any kind of way, but that's kind of like my little sister, you know. And at one point, she cornered me and she said, Tony, are you my brother at all? Like, you know, because Pogo always told her, you know, Tony this, Tony that. And, so it always was like a father-son thing with me and Pogo. But, yeah, I told her, I said, we're going to sell your dad's shirts. On my friend's site. You are entitled to some of the money, just like the DVDs we sell of your father. I said, I give the money to Japan, I take my costs, I keep my costs, and the rest we give to you. So, all that being said, it's like we're going to come out with the old traditional Pogo shirt, probably the Sehi Ozawa, which I don't know what chunk of the pie he would want, but just to show that for me it ain't about any money. I'm not getting nothing. I don't want nothing. You know,
yeah.
There was a few times to Onita in the last week and a half that I broke down and I said, you know, where would I have been without you? Because of you, I've got a house in Japan, and anybody could click on the link and see me walk into. Because of you, I was able to. When I come back stateside, I'm barely breaking even. I'm hardly keeping my head above water. Who the hell is going to send my 3 daughters to college? And you've done that. He said, no, you did that. Who provided me the opportunity? But then, you know, he's still a ball buster, Onita, because he's pissing in my bushes. And I go, what the fuck you pissing in my bushes for? And he goes, for my bushes. He's like, they're my bushes. You just bought them. And I was like, oh, you're such an asshole. Like, all you have to do is walk 10 feet to my front fucking door instead of, and so I look up and he's going, beep beep time. And there's like a stream of piss. I go, what are you fucking, and he thought it was funny because I go, what are you, marking your territory? You know, like all this translates poorly. Yeah, and he started he thought that was like the funniest thing, and I'm like, you're a fucking weirdo. Like, don't stop that, you know? And then you saw when he was in my house and walking around my house, all kinds of pictures and, but yeah, as far as the bootlegging of the shirts, that's exactly what went down.
Did they get taken down, or are they still up?
Yeah, they took them down like the second, because we mixed up some messages, and Mayuko had to do that for somebody who was bootlegging Onita stuff. So Onita's wife went online, found them, and said, hey, motherfucker, I work in the FMWE office. You are illegally selling our merchandise that I'm in charge of.
Right.
She's like, that's my job title. It's like IWTV. When I went to get a hold of him, I go, I am Tony Myers, and I am officially, and I just got promoted a few days ago, so, I mean, I'm on cloud 9. I am officially the vice president of FMWE. That's the way it is. That's the truth, folks. That's me. And it's not that I'm singing my own praises. No, that's the way it is. And it entails so much, you know, they're making me earn my damn money, just like Magic Box Pro. I'm always at work. I'm always trying to do commentary on the DVDs. I wear a lot of hats. I'm trying. There's only so much time. And I'm going to do my best. I don't care about sleep. I don't care about eating right. I want to prove to anybody that ever has put any faith in me, I'm going to do this. I'm going to handle it. I'm going to do or die trying, because I've given enough of my life that, you know, I've come too far to turn back now. 27 years of me going through shindies and whatnots overseas, not understanding what's going on. And, you know, you climb to the top of the highest mountain where Onita is literally thinking about bringing in anybody, you know, some of these guys that were beyond dream match or whatever. You know, it's like I told the guys going into the Battle Royal the other night, they go, well, is there anything you want to, and I go, you know what? I just want you all to beat the ever-loving shit out of me because I'm going over. So guess what? You're all coming with me. That's the way it is. Take as many still shots as you want of beating the shit out of me. I don't care. Fuck me up. Because in the end, I'm going up, and that's it. I'm that guy. I've always been so humble because who have I ever beaten? Nobody. I mean, right. I take that back for some guys that they actually slipped me over on, okay? But who am I? I don't think I'm anybody. I'm a lucky idiot from Jersey that just did what he was told and stayed loyal because I was like, ooh, wow, I got my heroes, I got my mentors, I got my idols telling me what to do. And it just drove me to try harder and harder and harder. And I'm not going to stop, and I don't care if I sound like a friggin' maniac or a lunatic. That's just the way I am. If your work ethic inspires me, then I don't want to, I'm not doing it because I want to beat you or I want to dazzle you or whatever. It's just because that's just me. That's who I am inside. I've always been that way. And, my kid goes, Dad, your biggest fault is you let people into your life that have no business even being able to talk to you. Should be something that is so far out of their reaches. But I guess I'm too accessible, which is why I don't come across as like a person with much, abrasiveness or authority, because I got a couple of good swings left in me, but I am getting too old to fight and argue with anybody. I'm a 47-year-old grandfather. I'm aging rapidly, and, talking about my frustrations, Onita, he's a 64-year-old former councilman, from his country. He has lived every wild dream imaginable, and he doesn't need the grief. He really doesn't. He just turned 64 last week.
Yeah.
He's under enough stress to perform and do because he chose to come back. He chose ultimately to unretire. He just shrugged his shoulders and looks at me and he goes, let's go to, and he said what he said. Come on, let's do it, man. They're still knocking on the door. It's not too late to tell them, we're canceling the order. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So before we get to the the card and everything like that, also you guys stopped at Rob Feinstein to do that virtual signing and also a sit down. What do they call that? A sit down shoot interview.
Oh, the virtual signing and the old
and
school.
I watched a lot of that virtual signing. I talked to you about that before. I'm a fan of Rob Feinstein's virtual sign. I'm not a big. I'll be honest. I'm not a big collectible person. I'm not sitting there buying pictures and all this stuff like that. But I enjoy watching it. I've watched the ones with Francine and Shane Douglas and Sandman and a lot of them. And it's pretty fun. The only one that I was really disappointed with, and the Onita one was great. He has a lot of personality. Kurt Angle was kind of boring. Kurt Angle just kind of sat there, looked like he didn't really want to be there. Maybe that's just how he was, but there wasn't much there. But everybody else is usually great with Feinstein.
When Angle gave his 3 hours, it was like he was trying to already politically march to get his job back with WWE. He wouldn't talk or slander nobody. And it's like, come on, you had to have had a negative experience somewhere. Everybody hasn't. But to me, it was really cool because I got to sit with Rob Feinstein, who I hadn't really spoken that much with in so long. And, I brought up old cards that I would see him at and behavior that we exhibited and just, stuff like that. And I sat there and I kind of looked at him and I thought, this is the guy that everybody, if I think I get a lot of shit from people, because look at my life. Like, I guess I'm too in people's faces that, hey, because when I'm in Japan, I want everybody to share the moment with me, man. Come with me. Check out this journey. This is weird. Look at this. That's me. And so, and there's only so many people I could get booked overseas, so the heat's on me, and then there's even more heat because it's like, oh, look at this shithead. He thinks he's really Leatherface, or, God damn, he's ripping off the gimmick, and Pogo chose that for me. And that's because he couldn't get the first two leathers there. And then, Onita's the one that chose Chainsaw Tony to give our feud another layer for him to say, I know who's under that mask. Don't call this guy Leatherface, because then he'll just blend in with the first two. He's like, call this guy Chainsaw Tony, because ain't nothing but Tony Myers on that mask. We did that. We did the entire press conference, and there's pieces of it online. When I upload this, if you look close, there's pieces of that press conference there from Totikin. So I understand what it's like for people to just, let's be honest, people like Meltzer have more heat on them from the boys because they don't take a bump, yet they're making more than the boys are here.
Yeah, off of them.
And, two, let me get this off my chest, that I don't care of somebody else's preferences and whatnot of this, that, and the other. There was no true concrete, and if there was concrete evidence, there's no way, even vigilante style, that they would let somebody like that walk the street. Plus, it's a habitual thing where if they were like that, what are our statistics for incarceration, right? Like 85% people are all like repeat offenders. If he truly was, that shit would have resurfaced again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
I know for a fact.
Something fishy happened, and when you first hear about it, you kind of, think, oh no, this guy's guilty. It's kind of fucked up. There was layers to the story that you kind of have to get the full story to kind of realize that there was something else going on there. He still was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but he was younger. I'm sure that he's grown up since then a lot and is a lot smarter. We were all in those chat rooms back in the day.
It's not even, the thing is, everybody bouncing around in chat rooms and all that crap, but even for him, it's not so much any kind of bisexuality, this, that, or the other. I give my thoughts on gays. I give my thoughts on things like that. And you know what? If I ever had a negative thought to say, then it really came back to bite me in the ass tenfold, because my 24-year-old, she made no bones about it. Pictures on her, she used to have an Instagram, but on Facebook, where she's holding a girlfriend's hand. And, I was like, I knew it a long time ago. I go, what do you want? What does anybody want me to do about it? Is my real question. I did the best I could to raise that child. And her losing her mom to cancer when she was only 10 years of age, I've never seen a tougher kid fight for her life, and fight for everything that she's had. She was given nothing. She was provided by me ultimately because, I'm sorry, I was never a drug guy. I could never get into it. I never understood the big deal when I did try it. So I'm just some guy that had nothing better to do than save his money. Like, I was so used to being broke and out on the road. And I remember the one time, Justin Credible had $1 on him, and he went across the street, and like the ravioli that come in a little can.
Oh yeah,
you warm up at convenience. Yeah, and there were like 2 ravioli with some crappy sauce come with it.
Like spaghetti.
Yeah, I'm that guy. Yeah, I was right there with them because I was doing the same thing, bologna blowouts, and I don't know if anybody gets that reference, but that was me. Yeah. Having said all that, I don't need anybody's money. I'm not hurting for money at all. For once in my entire damn life, this is where it lies. This is the way it is. 2 of my kids have moved on from college, so they're done with the college. My youngest is 22 years of age. So, I look at everything, and I had a blast talking with Rob about various shoot interviews that he's done. I mean, who haven't they interviewed? And anybody wants to think I've sunk to some kind of low in dealing with him, look around you. And I guess everybody is low. If that's the way if that's the way you really think.
I was going to say, what are you going to do? I mean, it's an incident from like 20 years ago. It's his business. It doesn't affect you. There's obviously more to the story than what most of us thought there was, and we're never going to know. That's really what it comes down to. We're never going to really know exactly what happened. So why waste time on it? It's just, life is too short.
And not only that,
some guy that what he did in 2001 or 3, whatever it was, in a chat room. What do I care?
Where he really, 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 really helped me was he walked up to the table and he goes, "Did she just say autographs for $10?" He was like, and like pictures? And I was like, I believe so. And I asked her, I was asking her in Japanese. I go, what's the deal? What are you selling this? And I told Rob, and Rob was like, he just had this look on his face.
He wanted more, right?
And he's like, that is way too cheap. He's like, you might as well just give them away free. And I was like, you know what? If you could help her with the numbers and business-wise, please do. Because I don't know what he should be charging. I don't know. I've never dealt stateside with stuff like this before. I've always done my business elsewhere. And there's a reason why I keep him shielded and keep him away from every piece of shit that has this dream of wrestling him but doesn't have any money. There's a reason. There is a reason. I can't stress it enough why I've always kept Onita shielded from people in the States. I never want him to get ripped off or hurt. He doesn't need the friggin' drama. He and it's not because I'm blinded by any kind of loyalty. No, it's the truth. I've lived it with him. I've butted heads with him. I've done everything. He laughs at all the stories all the times, like, because Pogo would get rid of us. Pogo would fire us. He'd get fed up or whatever. So I was fired at least twice. And that says something, man, when your work visa is the guy that just fired you.
Yeah.
So we all had our ups and downs. We all had our ins and outs. We had our great times. We had our bad times. And we battled back through it. Everything that I've just said, taken into consideration, it's like the one thing that you realize is it all boils down to business anyway. So any of those personal feelings don't matter. Him and Pogo put up a ring and friggin' draw $200,000, with what they charge for a ticket for the explosives and all that stuff. Nobody knows how difficult it is to pull off, and it was a miracle. I'll boil it down to, Kawakami-san. That guy is fiercely intelligent. To put together some MacGyver shit like he did with what little he did when the freight got turned around, and everybody knew word spread fast because the first thing Matt did was go to his students and, he didn't tell them the whole story because he doesn't want them to worry. Matt turned around and, anybody that has anybody with a license in the state of Jersey and, the same thing happened with DJ. He did not acquire a proper.
So for people who are listening
license
to this that might not know, where we're going here, this is about the explosives needed for the match between Tremont and Onita for the not barbed wire, for the explosions match. And the product that was needed was coming from what, Japan, right?
Yes, it was.
It was coming from Japan, and there was an issue with the paperwork or whatever. It got turned back is basically what happened. So it caused a lot of chaos.
8 days before the event.
Right. Right when the show was ready to start, everybody had to scramble to try and save it with getting stuff.
With people coming in,
which isn't that easy.
With people coming in from all these different places, everything chaotic that's going on. My chaos started. Onita was coming in on Wednesday. The 2 technicians are coming in on Tuesday because they had to find a way to get them cheaper tickets. They couldn't fly everybody, first class or whatever. So they're coming into LaGuardia. Onita arrives at Newark International. Newark International's 25 minutes to a half hour from my house. With traffic, don't even think about that. So the technician says, all right, Tony, we landed. I want to let you know. And I'm like, fantastic, awesome. We're right on point here. And he goes, so when does the shuttle come? And I said, well, the shuttle comes every 10, 15 minutes. And he said, that's kind of strange. I think I've been here 15 minutes. He goes, I can't call up because I don't speak any English. And her English is so poor that she's not going to be able to have that kind of conversation, even if we hit the app on my phone and everything. And I'm like, okay, let me call them. So I called up and I go, listen, a couple friends of mine, man, the plane landed at 10:30. It's 10:50 when they call me. No shuttle. And the guy goes, our shuttles run every, 10, 15 minutes. So and I go, okay. Called him back and I said, have you seen a shot, anything? I was like, this guy said they just run every 10, 15 minutes. And I explained to him, they've been out there a while. So they go, no, nothing. We even asked. They tried to ask, and the girl doesn't understand enough English, and she's got the gimmick where she's using a button, trying to translate. I called back, sorry, our offices are closed. And I went, what?
Oh, man.
So I had to throw on the net, and I was sitting in my pajamas. I'm like, all right, ready to take a shower. And I was actually in my friggin' drawers, man. And, I was like, had my they're like real thin sweatpants because it's basically pajamas.
Yeah.
So I throw those on and I take off fast as and I found out in the process of this that their servicing is 24 hours a day, not their actual company. They close at 11.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
I found this out later on when, guess what happened next? I picked them up from the airport, drove them to their hotel. And I was on the way of driving, I go, you guys got to be hungry. The hotel told me, it's cool. Anytime you guys want to come, we got your rooms, we paid for it, $1,300 because you need a major, you need a major credit card. Mine are all maxed out for my kids' college funds. But, I wound up having to use another major credit card. So after, we stop, they get something to eat, we talk some business. We're like, all right, time to hit the road. Time to get you all the way from, it was all the way at LaGuardia, all the way to the hotel rooms that were reserved in Langhorne, which was the nearest. Langhorne was a perfect selection because Feinstein's doing a shoot interview. He's there. They're a half hour from the ball field that the show took place, and they're maybe like an hour and a half from Tremont's dojo.
Hmm.
So it's kind of centrally located between all those things that they knew that they would be going to.
Right.
All right, here's where it gets sideways. So we drive, it's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, doing more talking. Now I've got them fed, which they freaked out because they love this convenience store we went in. They could get like sandwiches all night long. Stop there, get gas, we do the whole thing. I'm scraping the rust off my Japanese. We're talking. I pull up. They've only got it says no service after a certain point. You got to walk around to the gimmick where they got the friggin', shield up and like a bulletproof thing or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I go up there and I go, all right, I need the keys for both of their rooms. They're in two separate rooms. Here's my name. And he goes, sir, it's 4:00 in the morning. And he goes, it was too late for you to even, for you to check these rooms. And I go, what did you say? Like I can't believe this. Like already things are off to a bad start with the rental company and car rental and all this other crap. It's another part of the story too, where you could reserve one with a debit card, but you need a major credit card to rent a damn car.
Mm.
So I'll go into that part of the story after I get through the first couple things. So boom, that was that. And I go, there's nothing I can do. I can't dispute that. I go, I'm about to call the cops because you put somebody else in my room. You gave away my rooms. Those are my rooms. Who's in my room? I paid for it. $1,300 on my MasterCard. Here's the charge.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I got to
Was
that
there
point.
actually someone in that room?
Yeah, and because I go, well, is there any other vacancy anywhere in this entire damn hotel where you can honor what you were supposed to have? And they go, and he's like, no, saying, it's after 4:00 in the morning, sir. And I'm like, Jesus. They're seeing me get angry, so they pull me outside and they go, Tony, what's going on here? You look angry, you look upset. And I told them exactly all that in Japanese. So I go, all right, let's think our next. And they go, listen, the rental car place opens at 7. And when we gathered our thoughts, it was ready after 4:30. So I'm like, I don't believe this. Like I'm sitting in my truck that blows heat like crazy. I was like, at least we're warm and comfortable, fed, and it was like, they were like, well, and I'm thinking, this is how I thought. Well, we're kind of close to Philly Airport. Do this. There is the same dollar rental car place inside the Philly Airport. Let's go there. And they're like, if it's okay with you, man, do you feel tired? We can drive, and I'm like, no, I'll get us through this, because that's two things that have been botched bad. And we needed those two things. The car for you to get around, and your hotel. You have to go someplace. You have to stay somewhere. And you can see Red Roof Inn. We weren't trying to kill nobody with the Onita budget. Red Roof Inn for these two.
Right.
Onita stays in the Marriott because he's a former congressman, and they have, a buddy deal with that. There's a line of credit involved and everything. So here we go. I drove all the way to Philly International, which wasn't too far from where we were. It was like a half hour, but we hammed hard, killed time, and we're like, all right, we need this rental car. The whole time we're talking business and logistics, because now, the freight has been returned, and they're like, Tony, where can we scramble to get this stuff? They have a lot of questions. We're all on our phones. We're all trying to knock out all the shit we need to. I'm returning calls because people are now calling me frantic, including Matt Tremont. And down the line, you'll find out why. But for now,
well, I got a question before we go any further. How come you can't get this stuff in the United States? Do they just don't have it here?
They do, but you need a licensed technician and permit.
To get
you must go to the state of New Jersey, and you must hire somebody who has a pyrotechnic and technician license who could rig this stuff up.
Okay.
Otherwise, you cannot acquire this stuff. Concussion 5.
You're trying to make a bomb or something, right?
Thank you. You got it.
Yeah.
Concussion 5 is the stuff that when you hear that giant boom,
right?
That's what that is.
That's what that is.
That is extremely dangerous to be around, because it's a thing that makes a humongous booming noise. It can blow your hand off.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, dry burst, the other thing that is you need somebody with a license to acquire and get is all the stuff that shoots all the sparks everywhere.
Right.
Which is why when you watch the match, you don't see that stuff. You don't see either one of those two. And it was through the genius of the engineers. I'll tell you how exactly they pulled it off. Because what you saw was some shit, man. It was 12-foot flames. And when Matt fell into the barbed wire and the big boom went off, you see me live on the pay-per-view feed. I did the Terry Funk to Mick Foley thing. I ran out there legit and said, dude, are you fucking okay? Because holy Christ. But I thought the 2-minute fireworks was a little excessive.
Was it supposed to be that long, or was it just that's what happened?
No, we threw it in there because we're like, if that explosion falls short of the mark, which I knew it wouldn't, and they knew it wouldn't, but they're like more bigger, more elaborate. We're FMWE.
Just something to keep going.
Yeah, the Giotto rocket, and we're a little nutty with how much explosions we use, but whatever.
Yeah.
So I go to the place, I go to rent the car, I go in, I'm terrified because I'm like, oh God, I hope I'm not driving over some spikes here. Go in there, girl's as nice as can be. She's like, taking their passports. All right, we're going to get you checked in here. And I told her, I said, well, that's what happened at the other place. Are we okay here? Can you honor their commitment? She comes back to the desk and she goes, first off, they don't have a major credit card to rent a car. And I can't rent it to you knowing that they're going to drive it. And she would start to say something about being unlawful. And then she turned around and she goes, also, we can't honor commitments because their rates in LaGuardia differ from our rates here. I was like, so as a Cole, your company, you can't help me. She was like, sir, I'm very sorry. We get in the car. We have a little meeting that lasted about 20 minutes. And we figure, well, let's go back to the original one. They owe us some kind of explanation as to why they shut down and why they didn't tell they told the Japanese people 24 hours, but they meant they're servicing. They did not mean they're, picking up a rental car.
Right.
That's very difficult to explain and lost in translation. And that's coming from some excessively brilliant technicians that can hook up some unbelievable stuff. So I drive all the way back. We go there, and I said to Leah, I said, at this point, I just want answers. Why weren't they able to rent the car? Why, this thing closed there? Sorry, relate to your dilemma. She goes, they do not have a major credit card. They cannot rent this car. And I was like, Jesus, some of this stuff is the equivalent of a gold card, a plus membership, a diamond membership, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Here's stateside. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. They don't take this international. These people have international licenses. They're showing you the passports. No, all the way across the board. So I'm like, oh, Jesus. I go, okay, guys, until I have something, and the whole time I'm calling the hotel because now I know that they're open. So I said, guys, I'm going to take it back to my house, which is only an hour drive from LaGuardia. I'm going to take it back to my house. Place is empty. You're free to do what you'd like. I have several rooms I can put you guys in just for the time being so that you're set. You can take a shower. You got, clothes. You can do laundry at my place, whatever you guys would like. And we're driving back. And, you have to cut through like the Manhattan scene pretty much to get to, unless you want to go all the way around, you know the geographical thing I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The time is now about 2:00 in the afternoon because I told them you guys could either come with me because all the shit that's been botched up to this point, I don't want botched in Onita the same fucking way because we've been up all night long driving and arguing with people and figuring what the hell are we going to do? We're 0 for 2 on shit we needed. So they go, just leave us in Manhattan here now. Collect your thoughts. I was like, I have to go home anyway because I got to pick up the T-shirts that Corey Higdon sent that I had printed up. He got them out as fast as they could, and, I was going to have to stop by my place anyway. So now I get to the point where, I get home, I collect my thoughts, and I go, shit, it's almost 5:30. I just got out of the shower. I'm like, I got to put on some decent clothes. You got to remember, I'm doing all this crazy stuff, and there was a situation where I walked into the Marriott because we needed to rest for like an hour before they opened the damn dealership up for us to rent a car. I walk in the Marriott, and I told them some of my sob story. What they didn't know is I was just buying my time because the rental car is right across the street.
Right.
The only problem I realized is their entrance is set back a ways, so I had to go all the way driving around that friggin' huge loop in Philly. So imagine how I feel. I did that. I picked up Onita. There was a situation with the return freight, and he was like furious and said, I have to go straight to that dojo. I got to find out what is going. And I told him, you're not going to approach that with anger, so why don't you just mellow the fuck out? And then we loaded up both the vehicles and we're sitting there. And this is how horrible things could continue to go regardless. He and I were ecstatic to see each other. We just picked right up where we left off. And, I was like, Jesus, you hit the gym, man. You like trimmed up and I actually have some like muscle. It was cool seeing him because I didn't get to see him for his birthday. He just turned 64. And all of a sudden the girl looks in the back of my truck. Now keep in mind, when I went home, my truck, I bought and paid for, but I bought it from my dad. So my father uses it when he goes to Home Depot for stuff for his yard. He's always building something, and doesn't matter anyway because my parents, vacation in Florida 5 months out of the year,
right?
So they're never here when it's cold. And so, needless to say, my dad throws some goofy stuff. He had like a hat back there, some leaf bags, another weird bag, this strange bag. And I'm like, I got to make room back here for everybody's stuff. So I cleaned it up. No. That was that. And I'm headed to the airport. Well, we're at the airport meet up. Everybody's discussing everything. Okay, we get everything out of the way. What's the plan? And I was trying to buy Onita time. I didn't want him going to that dojo. Besides, they were running a show that night, so trying to get a hold of Matt and talk business. while a show was going on. Onita would have went in there in front of those people anyway. And I was able to hem and haw and bide enough time where, you know, Tremont is 2.5 hours from my house. So I knew that Onita would just eventually say, I'm too tired, which I begged him not to fucking drive that tired anyway. He was following. So picked him up, and the girl goes, Tony, where's my bag? And I said, your bag? She said, I had a blue and white bag that was sitting back here in the back of your truck. I went, oh, shit. I put it in my garage at my house, man. I'm so sorry. I just saw a bunch of crap back there. I want to get rid of it. So we had to drive all the way to my house, which is only, like I said, a half hour from Newark International. And Onita's like, holy shit, this is your, he's like, well, he looks at it and he's like, this place is beautiful. And he goes, which apartment do you stay in here? And I go, no, it's my house. I was like, go ahead, go inside. I'll show you. It's my house with all different rooms. You know, I rent out a duplex. And he's like, holy crap, you know. I was like, just come inside. I was like, you know, my neighbor's out anyway, so the house is mine. And that's when he was peeing on my bushes and acting a fool. I took him to the 7-Eleven in my hometown, and it was me, the two technicians, the guy that rigs up the barbed wire, which later on you'll see why all these people had to go there, Onita and his wife. So there's 5 of them, 1 of me. So traveling is like a friggin' circus, getting everybody together, everyone get your order, come on, what did you need, what did you want to drink, you know what I mean? Everything's like a big, you get to the point where you have to hand write down everybody's shit because you don't want to insult nobody and forget about their stuff.
Right.
That's that. It gets so late. Onita goes, dude, I'm so tired. He's like, I barely slept on the airplane because I'm just thinking about everything that's going to go down Sunday. I go, all right. I go, I'll take you to, I know your hotel. In the meantime, like I said, I've been on the phone all day, and they're like, sir, we're so sorry, sir. We're going to grant you that extra day. I go, fuck the extra day. I go, you left me out in the fucking cold, literally. I'm like, this is unacceptable. These are my colleagues, you know, from Japan. I was like, you know how, like, I'm embarrassed, I'm ashamed, I look like an asshole in front of them. Like, thank you, you know. And the guy was like, I understand your situation, sir, but it wasn't me personally. He was like, in fact, that gentleman has been let go of I go, I didn't mean to cost nobody their job, but if you're going to be that much of a dick to a guy that's sitting there, especially after my shit's charged, I'm looking at a $1,300 bill. Fuck you, you know.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm trying to give you the abbreviated version, but there's so many tiny details and layers to this thing to peel away, and I haven't even touched on all the other crap, which I don't have to because I'm trying to give you a bracketed, you know, so you know what you're dealing with, so you know what I'm dealing with. So yeah, we get in the hotel rooms, and Onita goes, he's like, you know, I'm getting you a room. I'm paying for it out of my own pocket. Stay at the Marriott, different room from us, and and I go, nah, man. And he goes, all right, the Red Roof. Come on, man. He goes, I'll pay for it my own self. And I go, you know what? I haven't seen my brother at all this year, and his house is only 30 minutes. So let me call my brother, and I'm just going to hang out with my brother for the night, man. And he goes, listen, he goes, you don't have to do it. He goes, besides, I didn't make it to the dojo where Ito was supposed to stay. Ito's the little guy that rigs up the barbed wire. So he goes, I already got Ito a room. He goes, come on, man. You know he's your buddy. And I go, you're right. And I go, my brother will wait for another day. I know that at some point, instead of people buying me a hotel room, I'll just go to my brother's. I don't care. And, you know, like I said, I'm a family kind of guy, man, and I love my brother, but I don't get enough time around him. And I'm proud of everything that he is. He's a great guy, tremendous father, husband, everything. So me and Ito stayed up till 4:30 in the morning just watching wrestling and laughing. And he's showing me all the stuff that he made out of barbed wire. They sell it in a glass. Onita sells it for like $75 a pop and all the good stuff. And we get up the next morning. I was like, all right, now we have to go to the dojo. We have to meet with Tremont. So it's like, this is the big meeting. And, you know, the rest of them, but between places where you can't dine in and having to call beforehand and call around before you even going anywhere, And then you got 6 people, so you're like, all right, what do you fucks want to eat? You know, like, I would say that to them. I'd be like, all right, what do we got to feed the zoo? And, you know, everybody would laugh. And there's so many mishaps that just continued to go on and on and on and on. And then there's the issue with CVS, okay, advertises the corona test. What they do not tell you is they can not perform any kind of rapid test, they call it, and that their test results are delayed for a day. So they were waiting and waiting for them to email them the results because they told us over and over, even through an interpreter, because they have to put one of those on record on the phone with you, that you're good to go. Onita goes to board his plane after he returned the rental car, and he was told, these are not sufficient enough. These will not hold up. And he goes, so what do I have to do? And they told Onita's wife, you got to go to the embassy and have your tests, a place that had been verified to the embassy. And he's like, so my flight is bumped, and I got to spend another day in America. I got to re-rent the car, which was cool because he spent the night at my house. And that, reason for that, I go, you're going to pay for a hotel room for all these people. The way that you have blown through money on this thing because you've tried to, you know, Onita himself tried to cut corners and accommodate, and it wasn't like the top of the line food that he ate was because I'm trying to repay him back for all the times he did the exact same thing for me. And his answer to everything is, I have money. I have my own money, Tony. And I go, yeah, and me too. And guess what? And I'm like, and this is facts. I did what, 2,700, I think, the night he retired on gimmicks alone. In one night at Kurokin. Plus other money that I didn't even account for, where I took pictures with people, and when I took the pictures with the other wrestlers like, here, man, take a few bucks. You know, you were in on this. You know, I charged this fan. So, and I wouldn't accept a penny more because I couldn't believe the line and just how busy I was. So, I'm eternally gracious. I can't believe there's somebody that nice that I've ever met. The whole day, the one day, because we went to AC and, you know, I gambled a little bit. I was down 4,000 because I had cash on me from the, and then I broke even. And I should tell you that damn story, sitting in front of the roulette wheel pulling that off, because I go with the streaks. That and, well, Onita sitting in front of the slot machine. You know, they have the spin wheel thing where you you hit the 3 of them in a row and it sends you up the level. And if you hit jumbo, that's the fucking jackpot. So Onita's spinning the wheel going, jumbo, whenever he was, and he hit the fucking thing like at least 20 times. And I'm like, what luck you have, because I ain't never seen nobody hit that goddamn thing over and over again. Right. And he would he'd silently groan as the thing went on 150. So it was $150. And he'd just be like, like, you know, I wanted more than that. And I'm like, it's $150, man. But, and he was laughing at me because I go, come on, baby, get that fucker. And he goes, Animal Hamaguchi does that when he's training people. He's like, come on. So, you can imagine the stories between, he loved the RF shoot because he's bringing up names and stories. And when it's released, just get it, because they say about Onita's English not being too good, you can clearly understand every damn word because he had been practicing all week long, you know. It's like the deal is, you speak to me in Japanese, I have to respond to Tony in English. Okay, I can do that. Yeah. And, you know, the whole time just watching him go into, here's just a simple story. So, you know, I found more ways to slip around the waitresses and pull on the waitress and be like, hey, this is my debit card. I don't give a shit what that guy says. You have to make it look like, otherwise it's too late. It's too late for them to pay because, hey, I paid. And then he would start sneaking money. He'd throw the money in the back of my hoodie. The one time I went to go in the bathroom, and I come back out, and, you know, I didn't take my bag in with me, and he found all kinds of zippers and pockets to try to sneak it. Money in. Yeah, he's like real. I told you a story when I did that with him, when he would give me money for a cab, and he kept finding money going, God damn it! You know, he would do that in front of the sponsors and he'd go, God damn it! And he'd hold the money and he'd make a beeline and walk up to me and be like, this is your money. You are getting a taxi. You shouldn't have to take it out of your pocket. And I'm like, yeah, I'm humbled by that. But all day long he was down to the casino, and we're playing. Me and Ito went to the beach. We did everything. And true to form, Onita, like the one day, those little 5-hour energy shot things?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I bought like a whole bunch of them, and I go, just choose one, man. Choose one. One that looks like it tastes good. And he's all right. Comes up to me the next day, and he goes, what the hell was in that shit? And I go, what? It's a 5-hour energy shot. Why? And he goes, well, I was trying to get in some exercise before I went to bed, so I took it. He goes, I was up till 3 a.m. fucking my wife. And I go, first off, I go, don't tell me about that, because you see me, I ain't gotta go. Like, Pogo's daughter brought along her friends. She's like, she's single, Tony. You like her? And I was like, oh man, like put me on the spot,
Yeah.
Because Pogo's daughter, listen to the week she had. She was trying and trying. They didn't reinstate her license in time. She was trying to get to go with me to sell my gimmicks. So just so she could meet Onita. And then what happened was they scheduled the day of her abortion that they scheduled was the same day. So she's like, there's no way. And I was like, they're doing an abortion on like a Sunday. Like that's kind of long, and she was like, oh, considering this person's, doing an abortion, I wouldn't exactly say that they're the top of the line. I was like, yeah, I know what you mean. When we were at the casino, Onita was saying, when's Pogo's daughter coming, man? And he's like, he was really interested to see and know, because for the last year and a half of his life, Pogo would call him and tell Onita randomly, he's like, talk to my daughter, man. I ain't talked to her in 30 years. And Onita's like, yo, that's beautiful. Like, stay down that road. And then his untimely passing, I still told Dave Meltzer when that happened, because Dave called up and he wanted and that's why I was quoted in the Observer as much as I was, because I spilled my guts to Dave. And I go, before anything gets out of line, and he still made like a negative slant on it because it's deathmatch wrestling. I go, yeah, but you didn't do that when he was on. You didn't do that when he was on top with Dusty Rhodes in Florida. You didn't do that when he was on top with John Foley and Dynamite Kid in Calgary. You didn't do that when he was on top of the entire territory, like Gene LaBelle and all that stuff out in Cali. You didn't do that when he was on top in the territory with Lawler. You also didn't do it when he was on top of the territory in Texas against Terry Funk every night. But as soon as deathmatch comes around, people just think we're these immune idiots that do nothing but clock each other with, people like that don't even know the origin and meaning of it's death defying, not that anybody's going to friggin' die. And then there was another time, the one morning in AC, we all ate breakfast, we're all hanging out, and Onita goes, well, I'm going to go to this little shop. And it was like, I went to take him to the Statue of Liberty, but the traffic got so bad. And then our other party called us, we went back. So this is the kind of stuff that you deal with when you're dealing with, but so the one morning I was like, where'd you go? And he was like, man, I just seen the coolest thing ever. I go, what's that? And he goes, me and my old lady, man. He's like, we have Victoria's Secret and stuff. He's like, but if you're in America, he's like, damn, man, you could spend the whole friggin' day in there. Just like get coffee and just watch the entertainment, because,
Right.
And I was like, all right, I get it. You bang your old lady a lot, like you're supposed to. Like, that's your old lady. That's like you and your wife. You're supposed to.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be anything you give credit to.
Yeah.
But there's so many stories of the late night diners, and the both of us couldn't stop laughing because he goes, what was the name of that crappy hotel? It was on Summer Ave in Memphis, and all of a sudden my eyes lit up because there were two Admiral Benbow Inns that the boys called the Admiral Bugbo Inn. One of them I caught strep throat at. That was the one on Union Avenue, right down the street from the studio. The other was Summer Ave. And when I said Admiral Benbow Inn, he said, Benbow Inn! And he and I just like popped and looked at each other and couldn't stop laughing because anybody that came through Memphis knows that godforsaken shithole, man. Oh. the story of Billy Travis walking up to the balcony and peeing. He just peed off the balcony. All of a sudden, we didn't see anybody underneath, and you hear, hey, hey, hey. And it was like this black dude was down there, like, getting pissed on. And he was like, what the? The dude's walking away. He goes, man, I'm black, and I'll say that shit. He's like, that, N-bomb. He's like, man, that guy. He goes, he got a big old dick. It's like some old crackhead was standing underneath him or something. We were like, where's this guy? Billy Travis is all coked up and peeing off the balcony.
That's
it's just
so
too many things are.
So let's get to the so what was the deal? Was Onita just was he disappointed with the what am I thinking of? The cargo getting sent back? Was he panicking? I guess everybody was panicking, right? And you had to get all the replacement stuff here in the United States. Did you get everything that you needed, or did it come up short? You had to get some like alternative crap.
Yeah, and here was a terrible thing about, because of what they ordered, and for the environment and the bulk and everything, they can't use that same stuff in Japan. They just can't. It doesn't fit the ring, or it doesn't. There's something about it that they can use it in America. They cannot use that in Japan. So it's just like this empty. It's like this giant freight just sitting there that now is worthless. You can do nothing with unless he
and use it
has a return match in the States. Then they could attach it, because whoever wants to promote, it goes a long way if you get your permit and license. And if you can't pull that off, then you say, hey, Onita, the state that I'm in, they won't let me do it. We'll understand. I'd rather be told that. I'd rather be told that and kicked in the balls than find out maybe 1 week before the event that no license was acquired. But that's just the way that if I had a choice, I'm saying hypothetically now, if I had a choice, I'll go with the latter.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's a lot less aggravation and everything. So they get all the stuff, and obviously it's not the material that you were planning on. And then what is Onita? What does he go see Tremont at the dojo, or whatever, or the next day, and just kind of come up with an alternative plan?
Yeah.
It's got to be redone, right? The whole thing has to be redone because it's not the same material.
Every damn bit of it.
Switch the spots, and now this isn't going to blow up here instead. And what did they
exactly
add more fire into it than was probably anticipated, right? Because there wasn't as many bombs, I guess.
To overcompensate, which is another reason why Onita got slammed over the head with a fluorescent light tube and a bundle of them. And you could look. I defy any human being on this planet. Watch every Onita match you can. Show me one time he's ever done light tubes. Because how many times has he told me over the years, he was like, class is unpredictable. It's taking it too far. He's like, then you lose the emphasis of how dangerous the barbed wire is if all you're going to do is every weapon in the building. And, he's very old school like that. Like, if you let stuff get away from you, then you're going to have to up the ante. You're going to have to use. Well, that was his idea, to pull it out of any gutter. And Tremont didn't want to do the board spot. I don't blame him. But when he realized that Onita's over there taking light tubes over the head, and that, Onita told him, he was like,
Was the board spot, you're talking about the one where all the fireworks went off, right?
No,
Or was it something different?
I'll just call that the explosive spot. But even on that, to compensate for us not having the air dust and the sparks and everything, we went with the other plan. We went with, and if you look at how they had it harnessed and rigged up, absolutely brilliant. Those things start with a giant ba-boom when you shoot them.
Yeah.
Not only did they buy one, they bought 9 of them. So they bought 9 instead of the 1. So in addition to that boom, and you would have the air burst in there, the concussion 5 in there going boom. Overcompensate for this, they purchased 9. How do I know? I put that on my credit card too, to have them overnighted. And the switchboards. So what they did was you had that ginormous flame. Listen closely. The giant boom that you hear was all the stuff that they detonated to exact precision, split second of when the flame hit, you heard the boom for the explosion.
How many,
if that isn't some Japanese engineering, and give my hand to God, and I'll give a lot of credit to the audio guy. I'm so sorry I didn't catch his full name, but G-Rave even told me, he goes, if we can find a way to sync it up perfectly, and then Rob Feinstein stepped in and said, Paul tried that one time at ECW, and G-Raver's like, all right, let me get a hold of this switchboard guy because he knows what's up as far as that goes. He knows what he can hit just right. And I said, maybe a piercing, shrieking noise could take away from the illusion that we didn't get the correct stuff. And that in itself is another long, drawn-out story. You know, I referenced it before, and you could listen to what I said regarding, you know, the fallout from all this. But for now, it's more about getting people through what a bitch from hell. Anthony Massal running out and getting flash paper at last minute. And just, you know, everybody that knew something had to come together. And I will say this, out of all people, and I even told him this, and when it was over, Onita was like, if we have our own promotion, you know, that we can take anywhere in the United States doing the same thing, he was like, I'd want this guy to be my booker, like the stuff he's coming up with here. He's talking about G-Raver. And I said, well, I told Raver, I said, well, there you have it. Like, welcome to the family, because he knows you do freedoms. He knows you're one of the top guys when you go. And Onita's saying, hey, man, if you have any problem with plane tickets or anything, I got you, because you're going to come work for me in FMWE. So congrats to G-Raver on pulling that one off. And congrats to Feinstein for being there and pulling Onita through a lot of stuff that he didn't know about, that I was in the dark about, and really helping us out of a hole. Yeah. Anybody thinks I'm justifying any kind of wrongdoing or anything that they've even heard on Feinstein, hey, look, I don't have to deal with anybody. I don't need anyone's money. Neither does Onita. Like, yeah, we'd like to be compensated for what we do. Of course, that's called work, not a hobby, like how some other people approach this. But yeah, it's the way that the engineers were able to rig it all up is absolutely. Did you see the exploding light tubes?
Yeah.
It's another thing. Yeah. Nobody has ever done that.
So I got a couple of questions now as far as, you know, what was done, and I understand that it wasn't the original setup and everything, but what was in the original setup was there obviously was going to be more bombs going off, right? Because the one that you see is the big one, obviously, when Tremont falls outside, and then all the fireworks and everything.
No, we felt
that. Was there
a
whole bunch of other ones set up to be like in the ring and stuff like that?
No, the thing was is they wanted pretty much 4 big spots with explosive something. And 4 is an awful lot, because they usually only, you know, back in the day, start out with 1. But we wanted to be so spectacular that, and I guess for the lack of the one explosion, Onita figured, well, let's step it up a notch. Let's do an excessive amount of fire in the ring on the board. And, you know, he threw in them, go ahead, hit me over the head with a light tube. You know, a big bundle of them. So, you know, there was that. There was the overcompensation attempt and all that stuff.
Right, with the fire and stuff.
Right. So if you count them out, including the exploding light tubes, which was just thrown in because they were able to rig it up and engineer to where they could detonate, and kaboom, there went that. Right? Yeah, and then the board with the, yeah. Right, and the excessive, to me, the fireworks were a bit long and drawn out, but it had to be spectacular, because I've done it so many times where I fell off the ring into that damn barbed wire, and you do that, you take a bump into that, you better have a ginormous explosion, because it would look foolish. You fall off the ring apron, there's nothing.
Yeah.
And going into it, Destiny, until maybe the couple days going into it, until the last minute, I felt was going to be renamed Dud City. It had dud written all over it. Like, we were like, we're fucked. We got nothing. And then having to sit there, and I remember before we left, and they left the little guy Ito at the dojo, which was scheduled. He was supposed to stay at the dojo. They had him stationed there, and Onita told him, listen, I don't care if you have to stay up all night long. You be awake. He was like, the first parcel's coming at 9:30. And then they send the second parcel, all the switchboards and everything that you saw. G-Raver went out and bought all the fireworks that you saw. And I saw, Onita's old lady just peeled away hundreds and, and gave it to him and was like, get what you can. Do what you can. And to his credit, G-Raver, I don't know if he even had gas money, but I will tell you a real cute story. When he came with Onita's payout, he came with the money in a bag, and I just thought it was like the coolest story because Onita was like, we need this guy doing some booking here in the States. Like he's like, in talking to him, he's got a real feel for wrestling. I go, yeah, he's one of the top guys in GCW. He's one of the top guys in free. This guy knows the shit. Yeah. I said he was hanging around the indie scene for 10 years before Tremont got him aboard. So that, in turn, for him getting into CCW and getting the following that he has, and he has a big following.
He's actually, I'll just throw this in there. I had him on probably about 3 years ago. A very nice guy, too.
He's too nice.
Yeah.
Those people you know are too nice for the So, okay, with him, he did all the driving and everything. He really hustled. He really busted his ass and made sure and just on that day, it was because, the Japanese, they count the money and then you bow to it and you're like, business transaction complete. He, to his credit, G-Raver came and he gave the numbers and this, that, and the other. And, it was a real, I want to say it was like this strange, like emotional thing of just, here it is, It's post-show. We're at the dojo with him. Matt's wife is with him in the hospital. He had third-degree burns.
What were those third-degree burns from? Were those third-degree burns from the fire spots or from that bomb going off?
The board, which...
It's from the board? Okay.
Onita doesn't screw a lot with fire, but he was going all out with this one. Not since Pogo did Onita do a lot of fire. So, kind of sort of roundabout way on that story is you have to realize if you're going to squirt that on the board, you have to let the kerosene soak in. It's just like, the charcoal, like those little bricks.
Yeah. Yeah, right. You got to let it soak into them. Crickets,
yeah. Yeah. So you can't just create an instant fire with kerosene. Otherwise, it's not settled into nothing. It's just kerosene going off.
Right.
So, yeah, and I saw Matt's back was on fire, and, Onita tried to track him down to find out. And so many internet rumors came out of this thing. They just got to a ridiculous degree. And one of them was Onita was trying, like, strong hand, like Yakuza style, and he wanted to kick in Matt Tremont's hospital door and ask him, because, it was co-promoted by both companies. So they were like, oh, Onita was kicking in the door trying to get his money. And I'm like, Anthony Masao goes, no, he wasn't. That night he was as cool as can be. Went out to that diner. He signed a bunch of stuff for Anthony. We told old Pogo stories and all laughed our asses off. Deep into the night because it was a 24-hour, so we keep ordering soup. And now I'm like, I don't have to worry about my gut hanging out so bad, And like walking past Lucky, I'm like, and Robbie Marino's another one. I'm like, I almost feel ashamed to call myself a wrestler. Like, you guys have 10,000 abs down to your knees. Like, look at this. Yeah. Onita took a liking to, because Robbie Marino stuck his head over there, and he goes, I'm not trying to take away from anything with you guys. He goes, just tell Onita thank you for the house. And Onita heard him. And he kind of sort of, he knows what that means because he, the territory's in the States. And Onita's like, wow, that's a lot of respect. That's very nice of that guy to do. And I go, these guys know if they kiss your ass, they're not going to get anywhere. So, and Robbie knows that. He's been around wrestling long enough to know when someone's big leaguing and that kind of thing. And Onita's not like that. He's very humble. His locker room he walked out to my truck and he was comfortable in there.
Yeah.
He could throw his stuff everywhere like a slob and have the technicians and people looking after him cleaning up. So
I have another question about the match itself, though. Was there ever discussions to have an exploding barbed wire match? Or was that just something that it was too much,
but
maybe?
It was, no, we just kind of sort of felt that, exploding barbed wire is fine, but it's almost like too predictable.
So
and then there's the whole, and then there's the whole feeling of, well, then that puts more restrictions on this match. Why can't they just have the barbed wire and the ropes and just rip each other to shreds? That's old FMW style. When they didn't have explosives, we're like, if you code everything like with me, I went to Matt and I go, this is a question. You could say no. You could tell me no. I don't. I said, and the reason I'm asking you is because I asked Onita. I said, is it okay if I put my chain back on my chainsaw and I shoot the sparks? And I started to say to Matt, I was like, this ain't about me. So you guys are already doing the explosives and stuff. To me, it's like gaudy. It would be like me, like, hey, look at me, I'm here too. I always hated that. This ain't about me.
When would you do it?
Some people showed up.
With him?
Yeah, I do it all the time. And then, two, it kind of shortens my hair because then the sparks find a way into my hair.
Right.
Whereas when Ricky Patterson did it, the second Leatherface, he had a wig, so he didn't care. You just replaced the wig.
Yeah.
It's like me, the mask would get hot.
Anybody up though? I mean, that's what
the mask gets hot. For me, the problem is the mask gets hot, and then the rubber itself, like the material, starts to deteriorate.
Burning.
I don't want to keep going. Yeah, I love the one mask that I use, and I don't want to use any other mask from that. It's just
I hear you.
It's kind of the way that I feel. But Matt said, you could do as you like, and I'm like, because I always thought that would be so gaudy. Like, can you just imagine trying to put myself over big, and I ain't selling for nobody in the ring, like get a hold of yourself. It's like if any of these kids wanted to take you out, kick your ass.
Was Onita disappointed in the way it all turned out with all the different explosives that were used and stuff compared to what I guess
no,
what he was expecting, what he had in mind, or no?
I mean, as far as the explosives, he thought it would go off the way that we always do them. But with the alternative, the only thing he kept saying over and over and over again was, can you see if you have a friend on the internet? What are people saying? Did they get their money's worth, or did they feel like they were ripped off? And I was like, from all the reports I heard, it was beyond glowing. Holy shit.
Yeah, I didn't
Matt
see anything on Twitter.
Yeah. Holy shit, Matt Tremont went that far, and good Lord, Onita went that far. Even for him fucking with barbed wire, that's on fire and all that stuff, it was just this reminded people of old FMW, old FMW, that gritty, dirty, we're poor, we are enduring all this for you people. We are a team. That's why it's weird. You see me feud with Onita, and then he comes here stateside, and I'm always walking out with him. And I don't know. I don't care who laughs at me and thinks that it's a goofy or a markish thing. I don't care because, I'm older now. If I don't say things like this that are the truth, my favorite movie in the whole world is Major League. And I asked him, and Onita was like, I like that movie, but I wasn't. And then, his wife throws in, and he's like, he cries like a baby whenever he watches any of the Rockies. He's especially the first one. He loved the first one more than any of them. He's like, drama, the shots that they had. I was sad because the one day we went to go to, when Hideki Osaka was with us, we went to go to this restaurant that we all went to before, and it was the last, they had such a great time, and he had such great memories, and he goes, let's go there and talk old Osaka stories. And I go, sure. I called him up, and they're like, nope, no dine-in. I go, what are we going to do? Just sit outside, eat in the car? And he goes, nah, let's find someplace else. He's like, it won't be the same. I'm like, you're right. He's like, I could have showed you a table that we sat at. And there was one point where, so the technicians kept taking Onita's car to do whatever. One day they had to run a pair of scissors all the way down to the guy, Ito, who was there, the other guy that rigs the barbed wire. And the two technicians drove down there, made sure he was okay, got him some food and everything. And so it was me, Onita, and his wife, and we're head to AC. And knowing good and well that the other people are going to catch up with us, the technicians. So I'm driving down there. It's just me, Onita, and his wife, and Pogo's daughter calls up. And I was like, huh. And I told him, I go, Pogo's daughter calling. I was like, perhaps she can join us. And he's like, Pogo's daughter, she's calling you right now? I go, yeah. And he goes, why aren't you picking up the phone? I go, because you have this thing tuned into this stupid country music that you like. And so I was joking around, and he's like, well, you better pick up before she, and I was like, all right. I picked up, and she talked with him via video and Onita's girl. And about 5 minutes before they hung up, he's looking at her, and Onita's like, God, you got your father's face and his eyes. He's like, and Tony's right, the way that you even move is like just like your dad, even your hairline. And I'm listening to him, and she's like, Mr. Onita, thank you so much. You gave my dad a job. He told me the story. He came back to Japan. My mom had kicked him out, and he had no place to go. He had a little bit of money saved because, you know, Puerto Rico, you know how they are about money. Yeah. And she's telling him so much, you know, I appreciate you. Everything that my dad got out of life was because he gave him a job, and he left for Wing, and they had bad blood. Then they got back together and made even bigger money. Because the whole year was like Onita and Pogo all the way up to his retirement. That's why Pogo was so pissed off when he didn't get selected to be in the main event. He was like, oh, fuck. What have we been building up this whole year for? So they had 60,000 seats sold, but no main event. Because Godo goes, well, I don't like the fact that you asked me to be the second fiddle guy. Now you're asking me to turn heel again really quick. And he goes, you know, you didn't come to me in the first place. And I've been running your dojo for 7 years, so fuck you. I'm leaving. I'm going to IWA. I'm going to become a freelancer. The hell with this place. So, you know, they're talking, and it just dawned on me. I was like, it's like the ghost of Pogo talking to Onita, and Onita's just hanging on every word. He's like, your father. He goes, without your dad, the second year of FMW would have never survived. He goes, and for the past, he said, for the past 16 years, he was struggling with starting up his own company. And he said, I would always go in there, and he told her I would do it for such a cheap price because I didn't want to, you know, rip your dad off, like take all this money. He had the undercard. He had everybody to pay. And all of a sudden I just lost it, man. And my tears just started going. And, you know, he gets off the phone. He's like, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. She's like, no, sir, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. Tony's told me you're a very busy man. And she said, well, listen, she's like, I'll come join you eventually, you know. And, you know, it was like after, you know, he's seeing me wipe off the waterworks, and then, you know, I apologized to him and his wife, and they go, you got to get it out of you. I was like, yeah, I do. I think I'm a tough guy, and then I think about the death of him, and I think about, you know, losing Osaka, and I just become this, like, little defenseless girl, like, just helplessly crying. And, you know, I got to, on that pay-per-view, afterwards, you know, I said, you know, Tremont even told me, he's like, get on the mic, just let it flow, man, because he's like, I know it's bad. I know you're hurting. Again, you know, the pain just, it doesn't really, it's not going away like I thought it would. But there's other people easing that, you know, loss, so it's simultaneous, you know, because other people were tight with them too. And, you know, Onita, it's just a real emotional moment, man. Onita's like, he said something to me that I have used since the first time Pogo told it to me, and then Pogo told it to Onita. Onita goes, did you notice something? Have you noticed something since? Each and every day when you go to wake up and you no longer have your Hayabusa. You no longer have the guy that from the Death Pro Wrestling that they run over there. He passed away, and that was terrible because I really like that guy. He's such a good heart, and his matches were always used as comedy matches because they were the worst matches imaginable. But Pogo would still use him because he entertained Pogo, and he would sell him a ton of tickets. And so Onita goes, did you notice something throughout all these deaths and challenges and all the crap you went through? And I was like, did I notice something? And I thought this was going to be the answer. And I said, what is it? What? And he goes, you should have noticed the world didn't end. And he just stayed quiet after he said that. He took a drag of a cigarette. And he just kind of looked around at the beautiful skyline in Atlantic City we're pulling up. And then, he put me in a side headlock, and I'm like, dude, I'm fucking driving. Are you insane? And he goes, gee, for somebody that's so miserable and getting all the misery out of him and crying, he goes, you turn right around and you're another fit of emotion, And I said, where did you learn that from? Where did you get that from, man? That saying right there. And he goes, well, I basically watched American TV so much because I couldn't speak the language. He goes, then I saw this little cartoon on. And, he was talking about Charlie Brown. It's after Charlie Brown loses a spelling bee, and Linus told him, did you notice something, Charlie Brown, when you woke up today? The world didn't end. And I guess they got it from there. And I just thought it's fascinating. It's funny because I asked him point blank, I go, they're going to ask you questions like, why did you select Wild Thing for your song? And he goes, And he goes, actually, everybody thinks I got it from the movie Major League. He goes, I love that movie. He said, but no. He said he was just surfing around. He was just walking around the record store, and he saw this, X. Name of the band is X. That's pretty cool. And he's like, it says here it's like punk rock. All right. And he bought it, and he fell in love with the song.
Right. All right, so I'm looking at about 25 minutes left here on this episode. So let me throw some questions at you here. What was this done? This was done at like a baseball field?
Yeah, Trenton.
So that's the answer right there then, right? For all the the tries before, whether it was AEW or CZW, and they tried doing it inside of a building, right? And that's you can't do that. No. Here's the secret to all of it. You want me to just cut to the chase? And without the right technicians who know what they are doing, what you're attempting to pull off, you can order everything they had ordered. Without the technicians to actually work it, these are professional technicians, plus they're Japanese, which means they're intelligent to a frightening level. I sit there and I listen to Kawakami talk, and I'm like, holy, this guy knows everything about everything. This is like a cyborg. This right here, this guy is like being around a friggin' machine, like a robot. Like, he is unstoppable. He works like 18, 20-hour days. Plus, he works in the office of FMWE. So he's just like this maniacal man he's a work horse. And the same thing with Chiaki. Ishii-chan, I like calling her Ishii-chan because that's usually affectionately a name that you say to a young lady, a very young girl. And I'm like, she was like, man, you keep exposing my age to people. I go, because nobody's going to believe that. If I tell them that that's your age, there's not a soul on this planet. I was like, from now on, this whole trip, I'm making the announcement right now. I'm eating and I'm drinking and I'm doing whatever you guys do, I'm doing. Because you're going to tell me you're Japanese fountain of youth. I ain't never seen people like this before. It's no gimmick. I don't know if he's human. He just turned 64 and he only has like a little gray on his face. None in his hair. So I'm like, what? I told the story about Onita and listening to See a Heartbeat when I was making the cover on him one time because I'm convinced these people are not human and they'll pull the best out of you. But that's the secret right there, the right technicians. Somebody who really knows what they're doing. And in this case, if we didn't have the right technicians, nobody on this earth would have pulled it off that way. And Onita told that to Maikon, and Maikon's like,
or Tony Khan. Tony Khan, turned around. He's like, "Oh, well, we have the very best rigging, blah, blah, blah." And Onita goes, "No, without my technicians, you're not doing it. You won't be able to pull it off." And they were like, "Oh, you were right about that." But yeah, as you see, John Moxley's been calling you out in the match. So Onita just shrugs his shoulders and, looks at me after everything, and he goes, you know what he already told me regarding AEW. Doors open. So,
well, why doesn't it makes a lot of, well, now Moxley's like doing alcohol rehab or whatever. He's out for a while, but what?
Sorry to hear it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I mean, who knew that? I mean, good looking.
Another one.
He's whatever her name is.
He's had enough. He's had enough of a rough life. And you want to know something? I swear to God, on a personal basis, he's got to be the nicest, most too down to earth of a guy.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry he has issues.
Well, he just had
That's
a baby
not me
too.
politicking.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show
exactly.
you, it doesn't matter what your life is or whatever. If, alcohol or substance abuse could hit anybody at any time. So it doesn't, it doesn't have to be any particular situation. But what I was going to say is, that would make sense for him to do like a real exploding match with Moxley. Tony Khan's loaded. He's probably getting ready to spend a ton of money on all these WWE releases that he's going to bring in. They could do that match if they really wanted to.
Right. And, just to add something on that was irrelevant that I might have breezed over. If I could go down that entire roster and give you my honest opinion on everybody, I would have loved to have had the time to do that. Oh, the H2O guys and everybody on that card up and down. Yeah.
Right.
Just I was kind of let down because I kept motioning and telling them I need the mic. And, I'm doing my dance and, I don't know if you saw the pay-per-view. And then Ito-san, the guy that rigs up the barbed wires behind me, is waving the flag. The boys signed it because they're giving it to Osaka's wife. And she can't believe that, he was commemorated with the Battle Royal. And they put in Danny Havoc's name and Hito's name, which is funny because I dropped their names, when I was out there. And I just poured out my heart. I said, it's a shame. They said on the live feed that they only got the first 2 minutes of me talking. And that on the replay that the whole promo was cut out. And I was like, there I poured my heart out. I don't know. But right there I poured my heart out and told people. When I first met Osaka, 94, he got christened Mr. Pogo and PWC Dojo. And I want people to understand that when I talk about these old stories, it's not like I consistently did independents. I did a few, and then I get shipped back to America. And then someone like Pogo or somebody would scrape up the money and fly me in, and, I was back. All the different masks and everything, it was a way to get more mileage out of me, put me more to work, and I appreciate it. So I hope I answered the question. Yeah.
No, you did. I'm trying to think of what else. What else didn't we cover with the match and the lead up and stuff like that? And big things, I mean, not just like little details. Am I missing out anything big? No,
I mean you really. I think I got off my chest about everything I could say up to this point, and
So would Onita do a rematch with Tremont? I know it's kind of early because there's some things that have to be sorted out.
Right away. Here's what's.
Is it even necessary at this point? That's the other thing. I mean, these guys have done it, 3 times now in different factions?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think there's much mileage, but...
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Truth to form, we're headed to... WrestleMania is Texas, right? That's the Texas...
I think so.
Deal? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
He is going down for an autograph signing session with Terry Funk. That's got Feinstein.
Is that what Feinstein?
All over.
Nice.
Yeah, he called him, and that's when Funk talked with Onita, and Jesus.
Yeah.
I love the people that, I was like, don't you understand? It's the old ancient art of working. When he flipped Onita the finger and, watch the meet and greet, watch the virtual signing with Onita. When Funk is like, stay out of jail, Onita, and he talks the story about him buying Onita or sell his friend selling a junker car and it only working for one day and paying $600, which is a lot of money for him to have, for a poor guy. But his shoot interview is so funny when he talks about the pesos and wrestling there, Santo Domingo, but yeah, it was one of those deals where, it was so great for him to reflect back on stuff, and the answers he gave were some, worded much differently than when he would tell me. With me, it was more details of, we got time to kill before we're in the next town, and, very detailed. But the way that he delivered it and the way he said it and all that good stuff was just, to me, it was priceless. Coming out of the match, he just wanted to know if everybody got their money's worth, if they felt that it was worth a $200, first row seat. So
he was happy with it.
Yeah, he cared more about delivering, because we promised and we told everybody it was going to be an explosive match. So it's just like, I was like, I started getting desperate, and I go, I'll tell Matt, man, I'll buy him a brand new ring. Just set the fucking thing on fire. Let's get out of this whole mess. I was really reaching, and the cool thing was, Feinstein was privy to this, so Rob starts calling around to Mick Foley last minute, and Foley popped. He goes, holy shit, Onita's there. And then Bubba Ray Dudley too. So how this all ties in is, okay, Texas. Then there's a guy out in Cali, the PWC Ultra, those people. PWC out in LA, and then Bubba Ray Dudley at the arena with Onita, which there won't be an explosives because of Pennsylvania, State Athletic Commission. But it's Onita. He's like, I don't care if they don't string up barbed wire. I'll just have a street fight and we'll go all over the place.
What are you saying? You're talking about that Bubba Ray Dudley wants to have a match with Onita?
Yeah, there's something in the works. Like I said, I'll put it to you. Yeah, it's in Philly. What is Rob running? It was like the old, the old ECW guys. Some of them come in and.
Rob?
Oh man, I should be ashamed that I don't know the name and the actual.
Well, doesn't Tommy Dreamer run the hardcore homecoming or something like that? Or I don't even know if that's.
Yeah, I don't believe because of what's happened.
Wrestling shows.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know. He does the booking or what have you. I'll put it to you this way. Okay. I'll put it to you this way. All right. Again, I'll restate. I do believe in kayfabe. Because going into this thing, and even with Tremont and Onita before it was announced officially and everything, I'll say it again. I still believe in kayfabe. Sorry to let you down, but you know what I mean.
You didn't let me down.
There's only so much I can say and talk about.
Yeah, I hear you. So that's something interesting. So he's up for doing.
It's not that I don't want to answer the question. Yeah.
I don't think you can pull off the Tremont thing again. It's been done a few times now. You know what I mean?
I think they've milked it. He's teamed with Tremont. Yeah. He's won against Tremont once. Then he teamed with him. He brought him to Japan. He was part of a 10-man.
Right.
It's like with Onita. He goes, WWS already turned your baby face, so this is gonna spread. It's gonna get out. And he was like,
I think
you'll do more money on merch. Everybody knows. They see the pictures of me and you together, and together when I was coming out because I went back to the media and like the one year I went back to the media, they were gonna have me come in without the mask, just as Tony Myers, being like, see, an American guy on their team, which everybody knew. Chainsaw Tony thing was, he's from America, because they hear my broken Japanese and my accent, and they know. Everybody knows. You can take a look at me through the mask and know that I'm not Japanese.
Right.
I just became ingrained in respect the culture, but that doesn't make me Japanese. So yeah, even with something like that, then I did the thing in the media where you knew that I was American. What did you think? You think I was just going to stand by and watch all this crap happen? And, you know, I did the whole thing, and I turned on Onita again, and we were off to the races with more matches where he's beating the shit out of me. And, you know,
the opponent for him, if he wanted to do another big thing in the United States, is definitely Moxley, I think. I think that's really the big name that would draw a lot of attention. And has he ever wrestled Moxley? Probably not, right?
No, but Moxley was the one that was, I think his wife runs his Twitter, where he was like tweeting out, tagging Onita, being like, come on, I'm ready for you. I'll do it. I'll either kick your ass in Japan or I'll do it right here on American soil.
Well, he's wrestling like these Japanese guys that are coming over that not a lot of people know on AEW.
Yeah, it's his bucket list, what he's always wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know, I always said from day one, my goal was to latch on in Japan, come back to the States and shout out of everyone's ass. That's the way I felt from day one about myself and my life. I want to latch on, come back to my hometown and just, you know, because actually, you know, my parents still live in my hometown. So I always wanted to do that. And I think between the appearances I've had with H2O, I think I've done just that. Where, you know, I honestly think I delivered. You know, still hitting the moonsault, you know, top rope or what have you. Although this time the ropes didn't align right. So the announcer's going, he's climbing up to the top, and you see me, and I'm on the second rope, and I'm like halfway leaning back because the top rope was so far out. I just went, the hell with it. Yeah. Second rope it is, because, you know, when you're climbing up those ropes, you're thinking, who was on the undercard? You try to watch the matches, but you get distracted, and you're thinking, has somebody already done a top rope? And I was so glad, because if you watched the match, there were so many springboard off, you know, top rope, diving into the ring in the middle of a deathmatch battle royal, that to me I would have just been another asshole doing another flying move off the top. And if you know the level of difficulty, second rope is way more. I mean, you got to arch your back more. You got to jump up straight. It's just why even do it at this point? I don't know. I'm a goof. Whatever. You know?
I got 10 minutes left. I have 3 things to throw your way. I just want to get your thoughts on.
Sure, rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Give me, because I always put a quote for the interview, you know, like that I pick out of the interview. So I'm going to let you pick the quote that I'm going to put on this interview. You know, actually, no, really don't need the quote. I'm putting it on the Dead Air show for Sunday. But anyway, if you can, in one sentence, say, just wrap up this match with Onita and Tremont.
Oof.
Just, you know, it delivered. It finally was the explosion match America was waiting for, something like that.
They said it was impossible. You know, they said it was impossible, but that's not, that to me is not, I'm thinking along the cute wording of like, we turned Dud City and into Destiny, you know, I don't know, something along those lines. I'm not.
Prove that an explosion match can't happen in the United States, I think is a good way to sum it up. Okay.
It can be done, just have the right technicians, yeah.
Okay. I have 2 more things.
Is it good? Is it good to word it like that? Like we turned Dud City into I don't know, something like that. Something's in there. I don't know.
I got you. So 2, because we pretty much, I think we covered, you know, from top to bottom everything that went on here. You know, some of the behind the scenes stuff that's got to play out. That's for another day. 2 non-related wrestling things I just wanted to ask your opinion on as the minutes kind of wind down here. What are your thoughts on? To me, it's so baffling to see that WWE released Scarlett and Killer Cross, Keith Lee, Adam Cole is now gone. All these guys that they shoved, you know, The Fiend, that's old and all that. All these guys that they shoved down our throat, and they're good. I'm not saying they're not good, especially that group. They shoved these guys in our face for, 3-4 years, and then they just released them. What the heck? I don't understand that.
Me neither. That's an investment, a full-blown investment. You know what that is? You know what that is? That's the equivalent of somebody buying me a plane ticket to Japan. That's an investment in me. That means if somebody believes in me, it means you better friggin' get your ducks in a row, be able to put it in a cannon, and friggin' go full speed until you just can't wrestle no more. Until you're so blown up that you just, you know what I mean? Like, that's an investment. Why you wouldn't want to carry through on your investment and see how it plays out, or milk them until you can't get no more mileage out of them? Kind of like the Bray Wyatt thing.
Right.
You know? Why the hell? Why have you invested all of a sudden? You did nothing. Like how?
I don't some of these guys, you would think that they were, making them into world champion contenders like Keith Lee and all that. And now they get to the main roster and you cut them. It's so weird. It's so strange.
Well, you know what it is too, and the way I see it is, you never know. Maybe these guys are a big pain in the balls to deal with behind the curtains.
It could be.
There's so many things that factor in that you don't even, you couldn't begin to scrape the surface or peel back the layers of that thing.
They're giving AEW a lot of options, though. They're making it kind of easy. They don't have to fight to bring in these guys. They don't have to steal them or outbid these. They're just getting some of these big stars handed to them. There's a whole bunch that they're probably going to bring in. But all right, so that's one thing, and we'll finish up with this because there's only about 5 minutes left. I know you're not a big XPW fan, but you saw that Dark Side of the Ring episode, right?
Yeah, I cannot.
Though.
Maybe because I got burned out because, Homeless Jimmy did Tobita's and Unemployment Wrestling with me last year, and I just got burned out by listening to him complain about what a piece of garbage Rob Black. To me, it was always high school ECW. I never, and then it watered down even more where they had kick-ass wrestling in Memphis and all that stuff.
I got to say one thing. It's a long time ago. It's 20 years ago now. And I was entertained. Regardless of the fact that this guy was in porn and he, had a big ego and stuff like that, he's a character. And I don't know. There's something about him I like. And a lot of people are probably like, hate the guy. I don't know. Look, it's porn. We've all watched porn.
Look,
I'm not going to hold that against him.
If people are going to jump down Rob Feinstein's door, me doing all this business with him and everything, because now I'm dealing with the independent rights to all the stuff that I've acquired, everything that I've been blessed to. Go ahead, Tony, you can sell our stuff, give us some money. All of that. Okay? Now I kind of look at it like, I'm trying to think of the right way to word it, yet I'm learning English again, it feels like, because of spending those 9 days with everybody. Everybody dumped all over Rob Black because just the simulation of rape and, when that crosses a line and this, that, and the other.
Here's the funny thing, though.
But I always looked at it like this, like, if that's crossing the line, then what the hell are you doing watching porn to begin with?
Right,
isn't that crossing that imaginable line of good taste?
And
watching
it's not my
chick
thing.
Get railed.
None of that crap is my thing. To me, that's not even sex, to be honest with you. Some of the weird stuff. That's just going on it's all over porn now. I know 20 years ago it wasn't, but that shit's all over the place. You can find it on a website anywhere now.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, what I was going to say about Rob Black is, he took his shot. He brought hot girls into it. He did what he was trying to do ECW, even more raw and stuff like that. He was just a funny character and stuff like that. And I listened to his podcast, and he rebutted. I'm going to send you the link. He rebutted a lot of the stuff that was said in that episode. So, there's always two sides to the story, and it sounds like there was a lot of different sides to some of that stuff that, he's no angel or anything, but I think it wasn't all true. I'll put it that way.
It's like the Onita episode. Finally, Onita got to tell his side. Finally.
Yeah.
And, I told him, he cracked up laughing at this because, and he talks about it on a shoot interview, about just how tasteless Shota Arai's daughter is. And, and I said it. I go, I hope for her sake, because she pretty much acquired a work visa through Onita for America. And she's listening, and I know she's listening because she scours, for her dad, which, she barely even knew her father, 2 years old or when. Anyway, and plus he was always gone and ducking and dodging from loan sharks. I hope to God that for the sake of logistics, that her pussy isn't as big as her fucking mouth is, because you want to say he killed your father? He handed your father something that was so established on a silver platter. You telling me that Shocho Rai didn't learn anything? He worked in the friggin' office of FMW for 7 years. You didn't acquire the knowledge to continue running a business after Onita. You know how ridiculous everybody said? Hayabusa in that match was ridiculous. Him going over in that match would have been twice as ridiculous, a million times as ridiculous. Because everybody felt, Onita's going to come back anyway and help this if it starts to nosedive. And that's what it started doing. They gradually started getting stronger and stronger, and then Onita gave him that big boom, that big push. You know, turn heel. Does a guy that has an ego, would he want to be the top heel? Like, he wouldn't want to be the top heel. He would want to be the top babyface that took over. So anyway, there's, you know, I just thought it was rather tasteless. I know on a personal note what happened. I know her mother calling Onita's mom and you know, her calling Onita's mom and being like, I'm so sorry for the things I said. You know something, I got a very good friend, Konosuke. He lost his job from the nursing home they had. He cut off all his hair to acquire that job. And it's just like, I know that you're bored and kind of lonely at night and you have a YouTube channel and you're trying to get hits or views or whatever, but it's just like, there's a right way and there's a wrong way. And him, he just, I'll let you talk, man. Otherwise I could ramble. You know me.
No, I'm just saying, you know, we got 2 minutes left. I think we covered everything. I think we hit on everything, including
the stories are unlimited, folks, of what I could tell on this adventure that I went through with just from the time that all the Japanese arrived here. The stories are unlimited. I've only just begun with the stories, but yeah. Sorry, you were saying.
No, I think I was just saying we pretty much covered as much as we possibly could for now. Probably, like you said, the next time we talk, maybe we could, hit some other subjects, that kind of unlock some of those things and stuff like that. But other than that, I know you have no interest in it with the XPW thing, but Rob Black is starting up XPW
not much.
Again. And he...
it's just not much. It never really fascinated me like it did
it's
others.
so long ago. I almost had to, I forgot most of it, but he's doing this XPW thing again, and a lot of the guys that you were talking about tonight are going to be on that show tomorrow. G Raver and who else did I see? Schlack and Brian Cage and stuff. I'm just curious to see what it looks like. I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to, order it or anything like that, but I'm just curious if I see some clips of it. I mean, I don't think it's going to look like it did 20 years ago, but we'll see what happens. So I know CZW wasn't around and stuff like that, so there is a couple of spots open for these guys to work. Maybe that'll be another one. But Tony, I have to let you go because I'm getting the 60-second thing over here, and they're gonna cut me off anyway. So instead of not saying goodbye, we'll say goodbye now.
Yeah, if I can stop coughing.
You gotta stop smoking.
I can stop coughing. Yeah.
Just
so which I don't know which smoking you're referring to. So you pick and choose one. I need to stop smoking. Period. No vaping. No nothing. Yeah. No tobacco. No. You know what I do.
None of it. Cut it all out.
None of it. It's bad for you. Stop that.
All right. Any last words before you go?
Man. Yeah. Thank you so much for everything, the platform especially. And if people are still listening at this point, really, really thank you, because you've listened to a full 2 hours of me just
2 hours
not shutting the hell up. Not shutting the hell up, but having a good time as always with you, man.
This was a good one. This was a great one. This was a lot of fun, and we'll do this again. You're not going back to Japan till October, and they're going to cut me off in 10 seconds, so I might as well just end it here. So, but
January, correction. Goodbye,
January,
everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, Sam.
Okay.
Seriously.
Talk to you later.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Reckless Airwaves Radio-Dead Air. Check us out every Sunday night and keep up with everything Reckless over at RecklessAirwaves.com.